First gear wants to be used. Second gear wants to be used. Third gear wants to be used. Those are your power gears, yeah? You want to be using them to get the car moving. There's so many times that people will stall as a learner because they're trying to change out of gear far too early. I don't like the noise. Yeah, that happens a lot, especially girls. They're like, I don't like the noise. Guys, you need the noise. We need the noise for hill starts. We need the noise to pick up speed. We need the noise to pull off in small gaps at roundabouts. We need some energy noise. Like if you picked up bags, you would make a noise like as you pick them up. So these gears want to be used, yeah? One of my students today was like changing gear too early without using her lower gear enough. And then because we were changing so early and not even using the lower gear, we were stalling because you're asking the higher gear to do the lower gear's job and it's not even capable of doing it. Okay, so every gear has got its kind of moment, it's got its time. Like let's give the gear the moment, let's give the gear their like moment to shine, you know. So like first gear, you know, you want to use it. It's the only gear that's designed to start from zero, right, officially speaking, unless you're facing downhill, right? And you want to use it enough to then be able to go to second, because look, second gear can't start before a certain amount of time. See, there's that white bit. It's not designed to start from a lower, so you're in very high risk indeed of stalling if you try and use second to start on a flat surface or up a hill from anything under, like anything in this white bit, so anything under like 5 or something like that, you're incredibly likely to stall unless you ride the clutch, which is very bad for the clutch, staying on the biting point and then over revving it. That's called riding the clutch. Yeah, you can get away with not stalling, but your poor clutch is just going to be screaming at you like, no. Like, use the lower gear to get you moving. So many students in my car say I don't like the noise. And it's important to have the noise, yeah? That's your power noise, that's your healthy noise, that's your get the car moving noise, I'm going, you know? So you want to be, in a nutshell, you want to be using first gear to around about 2,000 revs. 2,000 revs is your like beautiful number on a flat surface to be able to change gear. So you use first gear up to 2,000 revs, then when you're in second, you take it up to 2,000 revs, then you change to third and you go up to 2,000 revs. 2,000 revs is such a good reference point on a flat surface to be able to change gear. It's a healthy enough bit of energy to get you moving, and you've got the car moving enough, and then you can change to the next gear at the right time. And this is a good idea. You should be in the highest gear possible to save as much money as you can, to save as much petrol as you possibly can. You do want to be in those high gears, but not too early, because one, you run the risk of stalling if you enter the higher gear too early. The gear will be like, that's not my job. You're literally asking me to do a lower gear's job, and it may just go no, and it may just literally stall on you because it's not capable. You've asked one of the gears to do a job that it's not capable of. First gear should be used for 2,000 revs, and then you can use second for 2,000 revs, and then you can use third for 2,000 revs, and then you can use fourth for 2,000 revs, and then fifth. Unless you're going uphill where you'd need more revs, of course. If you're going down like a slip road of a motorway, okay, fine, we need more revs, yeah. But I'm talking about tootling along in a flat surface area. We want to get going. If we don't do that, we're going to be really, really slow. If you don't stall, like this video is about like not stalling, because if you change gear too early, you're going to stall, which is what happened to my student today. Okay, so she was changing gear too early and just stalling, right? She needs to use the gear. Let the gear be used. Your gear wants to be used. It wants to be used. Let it have its moment. Let it have its moment. Make sure that you're not one of those people who go, I don't like the noise. I hear that so much. The other thing that I hear about is like, my car doesn't like first. We have to get into second like straight away. First gear, we just get out of it immediately. Like, I don't understand this. I'd like to drive the car that they say that about, because I've driven so many cars. I mean, I've been a driving instructor for 23 years, and my car used to get changed every 6 months at the companies that I used to be at, because they were like, you know, trying to be like on top form, and they probably had a deal with the company and stuff like that, and the lease company and all the rest of it. But I used to change cars all the time. I've had so many cars, and I've never taught it any differently, you know. So I would like to understand why some people say I can't stay in first gear when I've never driven a car any differently. Do you know what I mean? It's quite an odd one, that, you know, you use first gear for at least 2,000 revs. Long term, yeah, you're going to be able to hear it. I know long term you're not going to look at the rev counter and be like 2,000. I mean, even when you've been driving for six months, you're not going to be like looking at the rev. You're going to hear it. You're going to hear the noise. You're going to want to change because of the noise of the car. Of course, yeah, that's fine. But do make sure you've got these 2,000 revs before you change gear. Guys, if you are changing gear up a hill, you're going to need way more revs than this, okay? You'd need to maybe have 3,000 revs before changing, because gravity would make you lose revs as you change gear, and then you're stuck in second, and when you lift the clutch, we're nowhere near 2,000 revs, and you stall again. That's a really common thing for people to stall on, maybe even fail on, because they stall violently on a hill and then they roll backwards if they've changed gear too early. So make sure you're using these gears, yeah? First gear, 2,000 revs in a normal circumstance. Then second gear, 2,000 revs. Third gear, 2,000 revs. Fourth gear, 2,000 revs. Otherwise you'll stall, you're going to be really, really slow, yeah? And you're going to be burning loads more petrol, because if you're asking a ridiculously high gear to do a low gear's job, that will cost more money anyway. Even if you turn around to me and say, yeah, but I'm just trying to save money. If we're entering those high gears too early, you're going to spend more money doing that anyway. Sometimes when my students go through a 30 to 60, they go 3, 4, 5, 6 immediately, and then we're using 6 to try and build speed, which is terrible. It's like Bowser. It's like it is so slow to pick up the speed. It doesn't have the power, it doesn't have the energy, it doesn't have the muscles, yeah? And that would cost loads more money to do it that way. So if you're sat there going, I want to save money, great, but we still need to use the lower gears to build, and then you can go to your petrol savers later. This video has been about making sure that you use 2,000 revs before changing, otherwise you can stall. That's what this beat has been about, because my student was doing it today. So I just wanted to put that out there, yeah? You do need 2,000 revs. Have you stalled because you've changed gear too early? Yeah? It's very common, yeah? Especially up a hill. So I hope this makes sense. 2,000 for a flat surface, okay? Flat surface, normal situation. Okay, up a hill, loads more revs than that. Maybe 3, maybe even over 3 to change gear if you're changing gear up a hill. You'd still want to be in your working gears. Remember, 1, 2 and 3 for climbing hills, 1, 2 and 3 for going down hills, because you don't want to go too fast down them either. So low gears to go up and down. Yeah. All right, so anyway, I hope this makes sense, because my student was stalling today and I just wanted to put that out there and help you guys. So I hope that helps, and I shall speak to you and see you on the next video.